favorite vacations with my kids is always hiking. And years ago, we went to Ravello. This is northeast of Amalfi, just south of Naples, of course, in Italy. And we walked around for a few days in the Valley of Ironworks, which is this wild mountainous terrain. Obviously, it's very rocky. I look down in the valleys that are all terraced. It's lovely. The two things you see a lot of are olive groves, and you see Suvusato Amalfitano, which are these huge lemons the size of softballs. Now, they make limoncello out of it, but they also make a lot of other things. And it turns out that the other things were really interesting. We're talking about recipes now. We visited Giovanna Aceto, and we made 3 recipes with her. Each of them uses lemons. Now, the first is really simple. It's a spaghetti with lemon pesto. Not only is it simple, but it redefines what a pesto is. And it's not just basil and pine nuts and parmesan and garlic and oil. It's something quite different. So we have to zest 4 lemons. We've done 2. So now we're going to do something a little strange. We're going to take half of these peels, we're going to put them in the water, and we're going to cook them for a couple of minutes with 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and we're going to take 1 teaspoon of sugar. That's going to flavor the water. We'll take them out before we add the pasta. So when you cook the pasta, of course, the pasta absorbs some of that lemon flavor. So it's been 2 minutes. You can see the water has already started to turn a color. And we're going to get rid of these because if you cook the pasta with the lemon peel, it'd be hard to get the peel out. You'll notice we don't have a lot of water. Most recipes take 1 pound of pasta in 4 quarts of water. We have half as much water, 2 quarts. The reason for that, and we do this often here at Milk Street, and they do it often in Italy, you want a lot of starch in the water. We're going to reserve a bunch of that water at the end, and some of that's going to go into the pasta with the pesto to make a sauce, and you want a starchy water for that. So now we're going to cook the pasta, and that's 1 pound. And we'll cook it just shy of done, al dente, because we're going to finish cooking this with the pesto and a little reserved cooking water. So this is not your typical pesto, right? Because you need an herb of some kind, like basil, parsley, whatever. So we have nuts, and we have cheese, and we have olive oil and salt, but we're using lemon zest instead of, let's say, the basil. And then we have 1/2 cup of slivered blanched almonds, and we have 1 ounce of parmesan. And because it's lemon, we're going to put just 1 teaspoon of sugar in, and a little bit of salt and pepper. So we're going to give this 8 to 10 seconds. And now we're going to add the olive oil, 1/3 cup of olive oil. You probably want to use a pretty good olive oil for this, not a cooking oil. And it won't be perfectly smooth. So that's the pesto. Now, the Suvusato Amalfiano, those big Italian lemons, they're a little milder, a little sweeter than ours, and that's why we add a little bit of sugar, just to balance this out. Now we'll finish up the pasta, and we'll reserve some of the water, and then we'll finish up the pasta with a sauce. The pasta's ready to go, as is the pesto. So let's add that to the pot. So we reserved some of that very starchy. You can look at the water. It's good pasta because a lot of starch came out. So we use about half of it. And let me start to toss. You want to toss this so you get a little bit of an emulsion going, and you get it really evenly coated. And since this pesto is kind of thick, take your time. Make sure it gets coated nicely. There we go. So now we have some chives. We'll add that to the pot. See, add just a little bit of salt and just a little bit of pepper to that. Let me give it one last toss. Okay, I think we're good. So now it's time to serve it. We'll just twirl it on a large fork like that. Nice twirl of pasta. And then we'll just put a little Parmesan on, or a lot of Parmesan on. So one of the things I like to do as well is drizzle at the end with oil, even finishing a marinara sauce that way. But on finished pasta is always nice. So from Amalfi, a very, very simple spaghetti recipe with lemon pesto redefines what a pesto is. It's simple and it has bright, bold flavor.